Hello, this is Joe Simhart. I'm here to give the seventh installment of my series, Cults in the Art Culture. Today's topic will be QAnon. People have been asking me about this, what I thought of it. So, here's what I think of it. I'm going to put my thinking cap on and give you some idea. I turned to the Federalist Papers when I first began thinking about what I think about QAnon. And in Federalist 85, written by Alexander Hamilton, he's very concerned about the charge of a conspiracy against the Constitution itself. And he said it has something in it too wanton and too malignant not to excite the indignation of every man who feels in his own bosom a refutation of the calumny. So I find a lot of people have the same reaction to this thing that Trump promotes in a way, that there's some sort of a left-wing cabal about to take away all our rights and bring Leninist communism into this nation. What I call a straw man argument that's often used by right-wing pundits, Limbaugh, Levin, Hannity, and so on. You can hear them repeating this same straw man argument over and over and over again. It never ends. However, let's turn to Madison, James Madison in Federalist 10. And he begins this: to the people of the state of New York. Among the numerous advantages promised by a well-constructed union, none deserves to be more accurately developed than in its tendency to break and control the violence of faction. Now, this goes on with the left and the right. These factions develop, they get into the kind of a fixated viewpoint, what I would call a caged view. This painting above my tinfoil hat here shows a finch inside of a cage. So these what Sir Francis Bacon called the idols of the mind. We create idols, we cage our own thoughts into these strange worldviews. And actually, what we feel we are certain about, our certain points of view, can become idols that we revere and prevent true freedom. This is exactly what the Federalist Papers were discussing, is that we develop these factions and we actually harm ourselves. We prevent our own ability to have freedom of expression, and then there's the potential to harm someone else that doesn't agree with our point of view. And when two factions clash, we can have something seriously dangerous and harmful to the people, right? I'm going to refer back to Umberto Eco's bestseller, Foucault's Pendulum, to address this QAnon idea. Back in 1988, when he published this, he was looking at a conspiracy theory that some publishers developed based on a computer program called Abulafia, and they cracked the code in it, and they began to spread these ideas around, playing with it and getting people to believe in it. And as the novel goes on, some of the characters get caught up in this, and the conspiracy cages them, so to speak, and they can't get out of it. But on page 49, the protagonist says something interesting. But the moment you pick up the clay, electronic or otherwise, you become a demiurge, and he who embarks on the creation of worlds is already tainted with corruption and evil. So what's he getting at here? I mean, the novelist knows very well what the idea of demiurge is, and it goes back to Gnosticism, something which is a theme in the novel. And the Gnostics believe that the origin of our material creation, the entire universe, is sustained and was created by something they called the demiurge, or a false god, a fallen god that wanted to deviate on his own from the light beings, and the light, the pleroma, which was the eternal, beautiful, wonderful, heavenly place in which we all should be dwelling, right? And now here we are on earth. We have a spark of this divine light in us if we're aware of it, and we have to figure a way to get ourselves out of the trap. So it's the Gnostic myths have tended to be almost paranoid cosmology, that everything is controlled by this demiurge and we have to figure ways to escape. So it's really a theology of escapism, of how do we get out of this world, and the way you do that is by not paying attention to the rules and regulations of the world, to go into this divine sense of perfection that's within us, and hopefully we pass away and die and never come back here again, because this is hell. The people in QAnon substitute in Gnostic fashion the demiurge as the government and the people's in power and whatever, creating this awful world for us and trapping us within this world. And then they claim that they know something about the deep state behind it, and they also believe that their permutations within the conspiracy will find the truth, and the truth will set them free. And of course, part of the truth right now is that the president is an agent of truth, and he is protecting them from all of this evil that's out there in the dark state. I mean, it's not quite a well-organized plan. It doesn't have the same beauty of mythology that some of the Gnostic myths had, but the QAnon mythology or cosmology is interesting in its own if you begin to look into the depths of what sparked this whole thing several years ago. It's infused with Jungian philosophy, with Hermeticism, with all kinds of crazy stuff about that the world you see isn't the world that's real, which feeds into the idea of internet conspiracy wonks. So anyway, I suggest that you put on your own tinfoil hat if you're going to get into the QAnon world, and hopefully it protects you from further damage and control. So God bless you, and hope everything is well in your searches. Thank you.